Spirituality and silence. Wow. Think about that for a while. There are people from every religion in the world who value and understand and discern the importance of silence, solitude, sacred solitude, to be still and meditate, reflect, and experience God, to connect with your Creator, whether it's through creation and walks in nature or getting up early in the morning, long before anybody else does, before sunrise. Jesus walked on mountaintops to get away from people. He would go out and walk on the beach or spend time in the mountains when everybody else was asleep. That was the time he would take advantage of the solitude, the peace, the quiet. There is great strength, great wisdom, great impartation, and deposits of divine power, wisdom, love, immense presence of God when you're still. Even the Bible says when we get to heaven, there'll be a 30-minute space of silence where we just connect with our Creator without having to say or utter any words. The best relationships are when you can be with somebody and you don't have to say anything. They know you, you know them, you're content, you're happy with one another, and there's no need for words and chatter. People are so given to chatter and noise, they can't be still without having some TV on or a radio or a song or music or some form of stimulation or a video game. It's really sad. But countries that I've traveled to in Asia and other parts of the world where oftentimes they're poor and they don't have electricity, those people, they're singing a spiritual song, they're walking, they're connecting with nature, they're outdoors, they are more quiet, they're more composed, they have greater discipline, self-control. Their children do as well, and their children are far more intelligent, even emotionally intelligent, and better at connecting with people and demonstrating communication skills. So parents who keep their kids off of screens and cultivate reading skills, thinking skills, communication skills, observation, and curiosity, they're able to thereby within their children cultivate creativity. I've written a book on creativity. I find most creative people, they are either staying up late at night or they get up early in the morning when it's quiet so they can hear their own voice. They have that inspiration that comes from within, and they connect with their Creator, and they create new things that don't exist, that other people have never tapped into, because they're able through silence and solitude and spirituality to connect with their Creator, hear their own voice, and do great things. There was a kid that 60 Minutes talked about, a CBS television program called Jaybird. I think he's about 12 years old. He went to Juilliard Music School, one that my grandmother, my father's mother, my paternal grandmother, was accepted to Juilliard to sing. She was a great singer, and because she had 7 sisters, she never went. Or she had 6 sisters, I guess she was one of 7, and her father asked her to stay home and take care of her sisters. Unfortunately, she never went. And Juilliard is a famous music school in New York. But she was given to singing. But this Jaybird kid was a child prodigy. And as he is from New York, he would often put headphones on, not to listen to music, but to quiet out the noise so he could hear his own voice, because all day and night, supernaturally, there was deposits of music he was composing and hearing in his head, and it was just coming nonstop. And even he would crash computers because he would type it out so quickly. And even at a young age, he was astounding and amazing other great musicians and scholars and composers of music who were adults in their 30s and 40s, and he was yet still a teenager and just beginning his career. And yet he had composed symphonies that were better than Beethoven and Mozart and many famous deceased musicians and composers. And of course, he was given a scholarship to Juilliard and went on to do great things. But listening to his process and how he would compose music, he would put on these headphones and block out all the noise with the subway and the people in New York City. Anybody's been to a big city, you realize how much noise there is. And then he would compose all these songs, and they were more symphonies. They were musical songs, not necessarily singing. but he was able to block out the noise and be still. And that's one of the blessings of prayer. Jesus talks about going into your closet and shutting the door. So sometimes you have to shut out the noise to be still and connect with God, your creator. And thereby you can too be a creator in the earth and create your own will and destiny and opportunities instead of always being told and bossed around by others, because you're inspired from within. My dad built homes. He was a home builder, and he told me on the job site as a child, just open up your eyes. There's always something to do, whether it's picking up trash on the job or attending to some form of construction or piece of the process that's being done and assisting others. There's always something to do. So I've learned and remembered that throughout my life, whatever profession I may be in, there's always something to do, even in your own life, whether it's attending to your physical well-being or your mental well-being or your personal growth and development or your sleep, your exercise, your relationships. There's always something to do. But one thing is vital, and Jesus knew it. He said, take time to be with God, to pray, to reflect, to meditate. And if you hear the voice of God, don't harden your heart. But it's hard to hear the voice of God when you're full of the noise of the other voices of other people around you that are always trying to monopolize your time and tell you what to do for their own interest and their own ego and their own vanity and pleasure. So you have to separate yourself from the noise of this world. Take time for spirituality and silence and solitude, and thereby the Spirit of God will begin to move in your life. And you don't always need to just pray and chatter and utter words. Sometimes you just need to be still and hear the voice of God and listen and be calm and wait upon the Lord. That's what waiting is. Not necessarily means that you're not going to ever work and do anything and you're going to be lazy and lay on your butt, but you're going to take time daily to hear the voice of God, wait upon the Spirit of God for divine direction, inspiration, and guidance, and thereafter then you go to work, but not work haphazardly. Work purposefully, powerfully, work smarter, not harder. And as you cultivate silence and solitude and spirituality and capture and carry the presence of God daily,